Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Principles of Marketing. We are now at our ninth week, and for this week's topic, it is using supply chains to create value for customers. So, for this topic, we will explain why sourcing and procurement activities are an important part of supply chain management. We'll also explain why demand planning adds value to products and also explain the role warehouses and distribution centers play in the supply chain and explain why being able to trace product is important to organizations and their customers. So let's proceed to our discussion. So using supply chains to create value for customers. So now we'll explain why sourcing and procurement activities are an important part of supply chain management. So for sourcing, it is a process of evaluating and hiring individual businesses to supply goods and services to your business. So basically, customers should be focused on of any insourcing and outsourcing activities. For sourcing, we have outsourcing and insourcing, and outsourcing is uh, wherein companies outsource activities to lower their costs and to focus on the activities they do best. Also, companies face numerous trade-offs when the outsource activities, which can include loss of control and product quality and safety problems. Outsourcing work to companies abroad is called offshore. We also have insourcing, and when firms can't resolve their supplier problems, they find another supplier to work with or they move the activities back in the house, which is a process called insourcing. Insourcing can actually help set your company apart these days. The credit card company Discover doesn't outsource its customer service to companies abroad. Perhaps that explains why one survey ranked Discover number one in customer loyalty. So basically, for sourcing, we have outsourcing and insourcing. Next, next that we will discuss that is another uh, that have become a bigger part of a supply manager's job in the years because it keeps the business more specialized. It is procurement. And procurement is the process of actually purchasing those goods and services. Since we have sourced out which individual businesses we are going to hire to supply the needs, now we will procure it and we will actually purchase those goods and services. So basically, we need to match a company sourcing strategies with the needs of its customers, and her customers should ultimately be the focus of any insourcing and outsourcing activities. After all, unless the product gets recycled, the customer is the last link in the supply chain. So this is what I have discussed. So the customer is always the last link in the supply chain. So we have demand planning and inventory control. So let's imagine you are a marketing manager who has done everything in your power to help develop and promote a product, and it is really selling well. But now your company is running short of the product because the demand forecast of it was too low. So you can probably tell the best marketing decisions and supplier selections aren't enough if your company's demand forecasts are wrong. So now um, this will demand planning and inventory control will help you so your forecast will not get wrong again. So demand forecasting is a part of companies' overall inventory control activities. It is the process of estimating how much of a good or service customers will buy from you. So if you're a producer of the product, this will not affect only the amount of goods and services you have to produce, but basically also the materials you must purchase to make them. It will also affect your production scheduling or the management of the resources, events, and processes need to create an offering. So let's have an example here. If, for example, if the demand is heavy, you might need your staff members to work overtime. Also, closely related to demand forecasting are lead time. And lead time is the amount of time it takes for a customer to receive goods or services once it's been ordered. Also, lead times have to be taken account when a company is forecasting demand. And for this one, we have sourcing decisions and forecasting decisions. And for sourcing decisions, it is deciding which supplier to use and are generally made periodically. And for forecasting decisions, it must be made more frequently, sometimes or daily. And now we have discussed demand planning. So again, for demand planning, you must have demand forecasting and lead time. Now let's discuss inventory control. And basically for inventory control, it is the process of ensuring your firm has an adequate supply for products and wide enough assortments of them to meet your customers' needs. So basically, one of the goals of inventory management is to avoid stock outs. So we have here 5 benefits of inventory management. So it keeps track of your inventory and offers a centralized view of stock. Also, it controls your costs by making stock reports for analysis of your inventory, and it improves your delivery by managing stockouts and meeting customer expectations. It also manages planning and forecasting by analyzing data trends, and it reduces the time for managing inventory by keeping records in place. So for inventory control, these are some of the benefits. So we have mentioned stockouts. So what are stockouts? So stockouts, they occur when you run out of a product, and if the customer really wants to buy it, then you have no product. Customer will simply look elsewhere to buy the product. So it is a process the internet has made easier than ever. And to help avoid stockouts, most companies keep a certain amount of safety stocks on hand. We have mentioned safety stock, and safety stock are the backup inventories to serve as a buffer in case the demand for the product surges or the supply of it drops off for some reason. Maintaining too much inventories though ties up money that could be spent other ways, perhaps on marketing promotions. Inventory also has to be insured, and in some cases taxes must be paid on it. Product inventory can also become obsolete, deteriorate, spoil, or shrink. And we have mentioned shrink. Shrinkage is a term used to describe a reduction or loss in inventory due to shoplifting, employee theft, paperwork errors, or supplier fraud. So for inventory control, we have just-in-time inventory systems, and it is used to lower the amount of inventory and still maintain the stock they need to satisfy their customers. Some organizations use just-in-time inventory systems in both good and bad times. Firms with just-in-time inventory system keep very little inventory on hand. Instead, they contract with their suppliers to ship them inventory as they need it. We also have vendor managed inventory. And for this one, it is a practice where the suppliers manage the inventory of the firms. And for product tracking, some companies begin to experiment with new technologies such as electronic product codes in an effort to better manage your inventories. Now, we have EPC or electronic product code, and it is similar to barcode, only better because the number on it is truly unique. So these are some of the um, things we have to remember when we are doing inventory control. We have stock out, safety stock, shrinkage, just in time, vendor managed inventory, and product tracking. So upon doing demand planning and inventory control, we are now going to focus on warehousing and transportation. And warehousing of products, at times the demand and supply for products can be usually high. At other times, it can be unusually low also. That's why companies generally maintain a certain amount of safety stock, oftentimes in warehouses. Some firms store products until their price increase also, and warehousing products regionally can help company tailor its product selection to better match the needs of customers in different regions. For warehousing products, so we can see um, there is a distribution center and logistics, and distribution center is the warehouse or storage facility where the emphasis is on processing and moving goods on to other parts of the supply chain. And logistics refers to the physical flow of materials in the supply chain. Basically, distribution center is the warehouse and logistics is the mode of transportation. So the transportation of products, so not all goods and services need to be physically transported. Some are given directly to the customers or sent electronically. Products that need to be transported physically to get them to the customers are moved via via air, rail, truck, water, and pipelines. The transportation modes a firm uses should be based on what its customer want and are willing to pay. So that is for warehousing and transportation. Now, since we have discussed warehousing and transportation, now let's go to track and trace system and reverse logistics. We have mentioned that we have in inventory control, we have product tracking or the EPC or electronic product code. So for track and trace system and reverse logistics, usually shippers are highly anxious when their products are in transit because merchandise is valuable and it is exposed to more risk when it's traveling across the country that when it's sitting in a warehouse or store. So for this one, shippers want to know where the goods are, when they will arrive, and what kind of shape they are in. So we have here the track and trace system, and for this one, it electronically records the path shipments take had and has become almost an important tool business as shipping costs themselves. Being able to trace products helps a company anticipate events that could disrupt the supply chain, including shipping mistakes, bad weather, and accidents, so they can be averted. Most shippers have track and trace system that can track the product loads. Tracking individual products, especially after they have combined to other products, is more difficult. So let's have here an example. We have a famous logistics company here in the Philippines, LBC. So in LBC, we may now track and trace our items through online or website. And we have here the EPC or the barcode that the electronic product code. Also, we have reverse logistics. And for this one, consumers are more interested than ever in knowing where their products come from, particularly when there is a contamination problem with an offering. Reverse logistics is the process of running damage and defective products and scrap materials backward through the supply chain to extract value from them. Companies are increasingly employing reverse logistics not only to save money but for environmental reasons only. So for reverse logistics, basically they retrieve item, they transport it, they receive it, inspect and sort again. So upon sorting, they may produce another product of it by reselling it, recycling it, or scrap or others. So basically, we have here again example, industry to the distributor, and then retail, and then the end user. After the user has done it, um, there will be a collection and selection of items and recycling it. For reverse logistics, this is very common in the Philippines, what we call ukay-ukay. So you may see those second-hand items, usually dresses, clothes, shirts, and also other items, Japan surplus also. So these are kinds of reverse logistic items as well. So again, track and trace system and reverse logistics is very important also in the supply chain. So again, uh, if we are going to use supply chain to create value for customers, we need to source and procure our businesses, uh, our business partners, and also we need to match the company's sourcing strategies with the needs of its customers. We also need to establish demand planning and inventory control in order for us to have the best marketing decisions and supplier selections, and also enable for the company to have the demand forecast right. And upon having the demand planning and inventory control, warehousing and transportation should be focused also, or should be given focus, and also track and trace system and reverse logistics. So on your handouts, or I mean, we have references. So and also same suggested readings. So Principles of Marketing from Mindshapers Co. Inc. from written by Pedrito Real Pearda, Purisima Pedrialba Pereda, and Dr. Vicente M. Castillo from Mindshapers Co. Inc. Morales Street, Intramuros, Manila. And on our handouts or PDF files, we have two activities. Activity 1 is identification, and activity 2 is essay. So you may answer both activities, but I will only require you to submit activity 1, identification. So total of 15 items, so 2 points each, total of 30 points. So once again, thank you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. You may ask me directly at school, or you may send me a personal message through Facebook Messenger as well. So thank you once again, everyone, for this week. We are now at our week 9 again. And topic is using supply chains to create value for customers. So before ending this lesson, I would like to say thank you and share a Bible verse from the book of Mark chapter 9 verse 23. Said Jesus, everything is possible for one who believes. So thank you once again, everyone, and God bless.